Love you, Linda. Love you.
The courthouse the other day in the hallway, you're singing "Oh Happy Day."
One word prayer. Justice, where are you?
And welcome to Justice Served TV. Michel Bryant here, and I think, can I get a thumbs up there from the lady in purple? Okay, there, she was having some technical difficulties. Now look what's happened. We're on the wrong side because I pulled myself in first. So I'm going to say goodbye. Goodbye now. Bye. Okay, there we go.
Yeah, I feel a lot better again. You know, it's so funny because we mentioned that at our show last night. Somebody else in the chat did say they were as discombobulated as I was being on the other side of you. You know,
I know. I told you I saw it that one time for whatever reason. My image was inverted like a Sally Port video, and I don't even know why that was. But now it's back to normal. We're on our proper sides, and we can
so let's
get
say
to
hello
it here.
There's a lot of people here joining us. Just a second ago, love your show. New big fan. Thank you, Colleen
Binging crimes,
R.
not cookies. I
Whoa.
like that one.
Yeah, YSL Kells, AJK, to make it count. Hello, Sam Poop, you're back again. Great, LMYL. Say, can't wait for this one. Yeah, because you know who we have. Allegedly, maybe. Let me be frank with you, Dr. Hasso, Louise. I can't go through Joanna Goddess. Woo, hi, Joanna. Joanna, the reason why we say hi to her is because we tracked her down. It was like we stalked her to get on our show, and she actually appeared as a guest on our show. See, we're not that bad. Everybody here, Oasis Cat's here. I have to tell you, Oasis Cat had the best promo for our show last night. When it came down that the state, albeit the good guys, apparently, it wasn't Ms. Lowe, it was the good prosecutors that Doug Weinstein says were nice guys and growls and peoples and persons and prosecutors. When they filed the motion to revoke Young Thug's probation, right?
Yeah.
You know, his for his sentence. She sent out a thing, and you had already tweeted or texted to Doug to ask him to come on. He'd already said yes, and she said, "We sent out the bat light." We had the bat light. Oasis Cat. That was the best thing I'd ever saw. It was so great. It was so great. Hello to everybody. We can't go through everyone because if we go through everybody to say hello, we will. And of course, we read. By the way, we read all of your comments. The show will be over. I mean, it'll be over.
I just sent Doug a new link. He opened his a new firm, and I think I used an old email from his old firm, so I just sent him the link to the new firm. So he'll be on momentarily.
Thank you, water girl, for loving that purple. You know, I was going to wear my red sweater, okay, but we've been having so much discussion about what colors mean. I figured, well, okay, you know, they're going to come and get me from Atlanta if I dress in red. Just like if I dress in my pink sweaters, they're going to come and, you know, the Karen Reed people will say, "I'm with you." You know, if I dress in blue colors, the John O'Keefe people say, "I'm with them." Colors have become so important, you know.
I've got the orange and black on for my San Francisco Giants. So let me cry about that for just a minute.
Okay.
The NL West is so crushed with talented teams. Dodgers, of course, last year's World Series champs. The Padres, Giants, Diamondbacks. The Giants are 5-1. They have their home opener tomorrow. They're 5-1, right? That's third place in the NL West because the Dodgers and Padres are 7-0. Yeah. So that's
most talkative. Yes, I have two watches on. The reason why is because when I'm either on the air or when I'm playing poker, you know, I can kind of see what my messages are on the one, but I can't see on the other. And so I you know, it's kind of the thing. Also, when you play, if you play poker like I do in tournament poker, when you get to a certain point, you can't have anything that's electronic. So if you're wearing an iWatch, you're gonna have to take it. You know, Apple Watch, you have to take it off anyhow. So I usually will take two. So tonight I have two watches on, and right now it just said somebody crossed my line detection because we do have security cameras.
My watch says only one thing. Doug Weinstein. Doug Weinstein time. That's what it says, and there he is. I told him, you know, this was kind of last minute, and this whole thing that came up about the revocation of Jeffrey Williams bail, but he was nice enough to pop on short notice, and it looks like you're driving. It is truly a drive-by. It looks like you're going to be driving somewhere.
Well, hold on, just to be clear. Hold on, I'm gonna screw you up a minute. Hold on a second.
Whoa!
There we
Wow.
go.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Woo!
Sorry.
Is that a big?
hot color.
Is that a moonroof, sunroof?
It's a Musk-mobile, so that's the glass.
Ah, okay. Well, then
yeah,
good
I
luck
love
to
the
you.
red seat. I love it. I love the red seats. I love the red. Look at you. You've got red and green on. You've got.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah,
The only way I could get this in is because I have a 7 o'clock, so I have to kind of take it in a car outside the.
Cool. Well, we appreciate it.
Place I have the 7.
Yeah, we do. Yeah,
I couldn't believe, first of all, that it was being attempted, but that Judge Whitaker apparently will have none of it, and has already ruled on this thing and said, just forget it.
And my prediction was completely wrong on this because I was sure she would want to take advantage of this lunacy to actually bring them in and have them argue the motion so that she could question them on it to demonstrate how thin and ridiculous the motion was, hopefully to dissuade them from doing this type of thing again.
Yeah, that's what I thought, Doug. When I was saying, like, this is her chance, right? But then I guess she felt her chance was saying, hey, I'm having none of this except for that little footnote in the bottom. There's a little footnote.
You know, I was guessing that she was going to, well, my prediction was she was going to bring him in, basically humiliate the state by asking him questions as to how these specific things were in violation of his probation conditions, watch them, him and Hall, deny them, and then gently admonish Jeffrey Williams to be more careful on social media.
I thought so too. Let's, if we have a couple of minutes here, Doug, let's take a look at some of the arguments they made, and more importantly, the exhibits, which I think were kind of amusing. Okay.
And while you're pulling those up, Michael, I just want to let you know that our friend Joanna, did give 5 Justice Serve TV memberships here, and that's important so that we can continue to watch Doug and also to make an account. Doug, how about that ruling? Yeah. Thank you for making it.
Lightning fast. Lightning fast.
I mean, the ink was not even dry on this dang thing. So it was
Can I just say before you get into it real quick, outside of a trial setting, I don't believe that I have ever seen a motion, filed, responded to, and ruled on in 20 hours or less. Yeah.
It's amazing. I thought this can't be. It has to be something else, and sure enough, there it was. So this was the guts of this was that there were some internet posts referencing Marissa Viverito, often known as the Burrito, when she was testifying in the YSL extravaganza.
And the reason for that, just so people understand, no one was being disrespectful. The closed captioning came up listing her as Burrito instead of Viverito, and so she became known as Investigator Burrito.
And so she's also testifying now in another trial, and as a result, wanted her identification. We always thought it was kind of odd. I don't know what you thought, Doug. We thought it was odd that she was so worried about being identified in your trial when she was clearly visible on social media. She was getting an award somewhere, and I don't understand that. But anyway, apparently she wanted that same anonymity in this trial she's currently working on. And so that was, I guess, the impetus for this motion. So here are the threats. They give out her. What happened was there's a posting by, I think it was Sylvia, right?
Well, it depends on where you start. I think what initially started this was a posting that Jeffrey Williams did with an image of Viverito, right, which was Sylvia's image, Miss Sylvia's image of Viverito, and then Jeffrey posts it and says, "Biggest liar in the DA's office."
Exactly, and then others aggravated the situation by reposting and adding their own comments, like if the hate is really real, then pull up on her mama crib, and also another one that suggested assassinating Fonnie Willis, and of course the motion is brought by Fonnie Willis. So I want to just skip to because I don't want to keep you too long. I want to skip to the exhibit.
I'm here for you.
Okay, well, I appreciate
by the way, I got attacked because I retweeted the fact that they wanted to bring this against Jeffrey Williams, and I was playing on them because they spelled his name wrong in the motion too. right? So when I reposted, retweeted, yeah. Well, I wonder which defendant that is. You know, it was kind of like a dig at them, and instead I got Doug.
I
No
always
pun
spell
intended.
Jeffrey's first name wrong, which is why I tend to abbreviate it to Jeff when I do these things.
So was he?
Very
Does he
good.
spell it differently? Is it Jeffrey? Is it?
It's
I-
ER.
If I could recall, I wouldn't continue to spell it.
No, it's not JFFREY. It
It's
has
not.
the E in there, and that's what. But you know, it's okay. We all know who he's talking. We're talking about Young Thug.
Yeah. So here's infamous Sylvia, who I met there when I was down there
Sure.
watching you guys work.
Yeah.
Lovely woman, and works hard, drags her equipment around everywhere, and sets it up and does her best to cover these things. And so she's referencing the Viverito testimony footage, right?
Mhm.
And there you can see her face is blacked out, right?
Yeah.
So that was one of the exhibits. And then you see, this is the first one. Let me grow this one for us. This is the first one from Jeffrey Williams, biggest liar in the DA office. That was it. That was the end of it.
That's it. And
Now
by the way, let me say something about that. In Miss Sylvia's post, she did not block out the picture, the face of investigator Viverito. That's because that image is right off
That's the one I
off
told
law
you. Yeah,
enforcement websites.
yes, she's getting some award.
It's hysterical. It's funny to me. I mean, I guess they had no choice but to block it out. But there's the DA's office blocking it out when it's all over the internet. That woman is never going to be undercover again for anyone that pays any attention to anything.
Yeah, it's just horrible.
And by the way, they did this. The DA's office did this on a number of witnesses in YSL, asking for them to not be televised because they were undercover. Where the police, the law enforcement site, whether it be the sheriff's department or the Atlanta Police Department, would have these people all over their website. So anyway, that's a different issue.
Yeah,
Shows the disingenuousness of it all.
I didn't get around to it, but I was going to pull up the conditions of probation, because when we went over that in great detail at the time, we were seeing all kinds of issues where you could violate this and claim a violation, right? They were so vaguely worded, or they looked like traps, right?
Right.
And one of them was a social media type reference. And we were talking, what if somebody else posts something and tags you? And sure enough, that's effectively what's happened here, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous to hold someone on a true broadcast medium, which X or Twitter is. You don't really control who sees that. Anyone can look at it unless you specifically block that individual. To hold them accountable to whoever for whatever a member of the public says is absurd.
Of course.
Especially when there's been no incitement of it by that original post from Jeffrey Williams. Calling someone a liar who is objectively a liar, I don't understand.
Yeah, it wouldn't be actionable, as aside from the revocation attempt, wouldn't be actionable. So
the truth is a defense.
We see social media. People get all riled up on social media. Yet, we don't want anyone hurt, but they get all riled up, and that's the nature of social media. It is what it is. But for her to get a little bit incensed, even to say be careful in the future, maybe be a little more judicious about what you post. I mean, he spent time in jail. Your client is still in jail, having been acquitted. I mean, people can be a little incensed about what is going on in the justice system or the injustice system.
No, that's exactly right. And I was really the biggest favor Judge Whitaker did for the DA's office in this case was to deny it on the papers and not bring them into court, make them stand up and try to argue this almost baseless motion.
Yeah, and really just in doing that inflicts some emotional distress on. You remember when Jeffrey Williams was there taking the plea deal. It was dramatic. It was emotional. For him to be brought back in so quickly, after being released, that would have been downright torturous.
Well, someone whose name I know, but who goes by GSU Grinding on the internet to maintain his anonymity, but who's an excellent criminal defense attorney, suggested that in response to this motion, perhaps Jeffrey Williams should argue for early termination of probation.
Right. I agree with that. I tweeted that out too. I thought that was, and what reminded me, if you recall, and you know this better than we do, she actually inserted into the whole plea and sentence, she inserted that any motion for revocation had to come back to her. To me, that told me that she didn't trust them. She didn't trust judge shopping. She didn't even trust the other judges she was with, that that's what was going to happen. And so I thought this was a good deal for her to do that. Now, maybe if they do something like that again, she will. But I said the same thing. I mean, I'd go right back at them, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I think she retained it because she knows the way that the Fulton County DA's office has operated here. And I think it's less a lack of trust in her fellow judges, as she is the one that knows the case better than any other on a very complicated case. She knows the terms of probation, and she knows the nonsense that she got from the DA's office. So she would be the one best situated to make a fair appraisal of any attempt to revoke his probation.
Yeah, and this was
you're so political the way you said it. You're so good, Doug. You really are so good, because I was surprised that this was. I mean, we have to practice here, but this was signed by the two DAs who you said are very good DAs. So was this Fonnie Willis's call? I mean, I understand the concern about the mama crib and the assassination. I mean, that should never have been in there. But that's not what Jeffrey Williams was doing.
No, those threats made by the public and the continued threats, by the way, that Fonnie Willis is under are wrong. Many of them, I think, are criminal. They should not happen. And I what's the right word? I denounce them. Jeffrey Williams says that shouldn't happen. I agree with him. But all that being said, yes, I have defended Simone Hilton. I have defended Adam Abate. I have made the excuse of we've all had bad bosses before, and you know what you have to do with that. And at this point, I think it's fair to say, you call me political. I don't think I'm very political, because I'm done. I'm done defending them. I'm sure it's going to cause me trouble down the road as I try to negotiate pleas. But at some point, it's like I said today, I think at some point, you have to take responsibility for those papers you put your signature on, and you have to be willing to walk away and say no. And I think Madam DA does herself a disservice, because clearly she surrounds her, or she fails to put anyone around her who tells her no. I don't believe this came from Simone Hilton. I don't believe this came from Adam Abate. I have no basis for this, but I am convinced this was a directive of Fonnie Willis to, at the first opportunity that may have presented itself, to go after Jeffrey Williams.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. Do you think, from his perspective, Jeffrey Williams' perspective, is he going to feel like gun shy about anything he does because it may be spun around in a way that could be used against it?
That's a good question. I don't know if I know him well enough to answer that, because I've seen him only in this very unusual setting of within a court.
He's doing music again and stuff, and I know that's going to be scrutinized, right?
He's doing music, and so I'm curious if he is doing like what Diamante Kendrick did with me, which is run all the lyrics by me, which is a sad state of affairs.
It really is.
That is terrible.
That's so I don't know if he's doing that. I don't think of Jeffrey Williams as someone who's gun shy about speaking his mind. And the way that the DA's office got slapped down so quickly here would tend to tell me that this isn't going to make Jeffrey Williams afraid of anything. He might. I don't know if he's going to be more cautious in what he tweets out or not. I mean, he has a new album about to drop, right? And if word on the internet is correct, the album is named after the largest red dwarf star in our, or red star in our, that we know about, something to that effect. So it doesn't seem like he's afraid to push the boundaries on things.
This is the just look quickly at the order that the
all right, I just want, before you do that, Oasis Cat wants to let us know, for those in the chat that aren't aware, we have Antonia Sledge, Monk, Punks, Pro Hoc, VJ Lawyer, Happily Angry Lawyer here with us in the chat. Well, welcome. Welcome. It's for Doogie. I know it's for Doogie Fresh. or as everyone kept calling you, Doug Slimestein, which was a compliment.
A number of those. And
Yeah.
you know what I don't know if you have the last line of Brian's opposition to put up.
Yeah.
I do
He has
not
a
have
beautiful
that.
You
last
don't have,
line.
okay, hold on.
The last
It was really good. It was.
his line, his motion, which I went through today, or his opposition, was, very legal, very professional, very reserved, as Brian is. It had legal citation, which the state's motion completely lacked. But the only thing close to the edge that Brian came to was his last sentence. So if you have the last sentence,
I don't have it. Somebody's going to have to just share it.
basically, he said that basically his last paragraph was, this can be decided on the papers, but if you decide to have a hearing, Jeffrey Williams will come fully prepared.
Right, something like that. He did say that. Right. We'll be there. Quick. Right. He'll be there, and then of course he'd have to get permission to come through Atlanta. I guess to come there because that would himself would breach the
right.
order, right.
That would be sandbagging. Yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
implied that if he has to go to court, that's waived. So here's the quick and clean.
But can
order.
I just ask you before you do the order? Before we get to there, because this relates to that. The Fonnie Willis motion, and I'm going to say the Fonnie Willis motion, says this qualifies as gang activity. Isn't that the same type of argument she made in the whole Rico thing, that everything that somebody else does that you don't even know about is therefore gang activity? And when does that stop? Because she's about to bring another Rico action, we believe.
She is, and she sees everything as gang activity that she chooses to. I mean, she picks and chooses. She decides this is gang activity. And I think that there's no, and by the way, when she said that, did you see the case she cited to?
No, which one was it?
There was no case. There was no
case.
There was no case to see.
Yeah.
And that's because there's not support for giving an innocuous tweet like this, stating an objective fact, calling an investigator a liar, is gang activity, could possibly be gang activity. So I don't understand this need she seems to have to continuously undermine her credibility. At some point.
But by the way, Doug, here by Happily Angrily Lawyer says, quote, "I'll be ready."
There you go.
That's the line. Thank you.
That's right.
Thank you. I'll be ready. Okay.
But think about this.
And then he wants to come before you. Doug and Michael are both sitting on red seats. Gang activity.
And my car has red seats.
We should have you to come and enjoy the show. I mean,
there you go.
Yeah, listen, we can send him a link if we can get it in the private chat. Send him a link. Have him come and join the show. I mean, it's great.
Yeah,
that's why I'm wearing purple. I told you. I don't know. I don't think that's
Yeah.
Could this have been a payback, Doug? Could this have been a payback?
I don't think it's payback. I think that they being Adam Abate and Simone Hilton were under instructions from higher ups that the moment you get anything close to a violation, I want to see you file something.
No doubt.
I'm sure that was their marching orders.
Yeah, and
I
think
why
the problem.
Would they see this? Why would they see this as a violation?
Well,
is he because he tweeted that she's a liar?
That's what they wanted to see. But I think they hurt themselves because they picked such a flimsy example.
Well, that's what I was just about to say. Again, as I constantly say, it's all about credibility with the court. And you have now, if it wasn't fully eroded before, I mean, what if Jeffrey Williams, God forbid, actually does some type of probation violation? You now have a bigger hill to climb than you had before, because she's just going to look at it sideways, the boy who cried wolf kind of thing.
Exactly.
So I don't think it's payback.
And if you look at the order, which I'm gonna foist upon you now, if you look at the order,
sorry about that.
That's okay. You can see that she focused on exactly that one phrase. None of this other repeated material that others may have used, but just what she saw from him, and that is the biggest liar in the DA office statement. Having reviewed the terms and conditions of the defendant's probation imposed by the court declines to revoke defendant's probation based on the violation asserted. And then there's an interesting footnote. We love footnotes. While the court does not find that the cited social media post rises to the level of a violation of defendant's probation, it may be prudent for defendant to exercise restraint regarding certain topics. So, do you think that was just a little bone thrown to the prosecution?
No, I think she means it. Given the way that I saw Judge Whitaker lecture Jeffrey Williams on his lyrics, and that maybe he could be a more positive role model through his music than some of the, I mean, she really got into some First Amendment issues there during the sentencing. So I think she just really believes this, and she's kind of giving some gentle advice there.
Some motherly advice, maybe?
Some motherly advice. And it's,
she cares about him. She wants to make him, right? She cares about him, right?
Yeah. And for those that don't know, lawyers are risk averse in general. We don't tend to be big entrepreneurs. And if he was my client, obviously I would counsel him to be very careful on his posts. And ideally he would never post, but he can't do that. I mean, he's an artist, he's a celebrity, he has a following, he has to post. But you could say, hey, Jeffrey, maybe that wasn't the best post. He did take it down. It wasn't.
Oh, he did? He did take it down?
Yeah, he did take it down because I think I responded at one point. I responded to his tweet and I said, she probably still has your watch.
Yeah, people are always asking, where's the watch? Where's the watch?
Kay Schmidt, by the way, wants to know, thank you for that donation here. How do we show support for Happily Angry Lawyer? I told Missy, Happily Angry Lawyer should send us your email. We'll send you a link. We'll get you right on with Dougie right now. And then you can all show your support for both of them because they're both fan favorites. So
and I
don't know if anyone, I don't know if we can do that, but we'll try.
I hope they have some success with tunk.
Oh man. Talk about one of the victims of the whole thing. Jeez.
Yeah, and anyway, that's a whole other thing. He had.
Would you lay that out? Would you lay that out for people who may be new to the chat who don't know the backstory?
Well, yeah, he was on probation for having pled guilty to a number of YSL counts in the indictment, and at trial, when he was on the witness stand, he backed off of a lot of the statements or several statements that he had made in his plea agreement. So the state moved to revoke his probation for basically lying and violating the terms of his plea, violating his probation to speak truthfully, I guess. And Judge Whitaker revoked, I believe, 5 years of the 10. The state kind of let Judge Whitaker hang out there by not recommending any specific amount. But I believe that Judge Whitaker on her own came up with 5. By the way, keep in mind when people spread the Judge Whitaker hate, that when something similar happened with Jeffrey Williams' brother, Unfunk, earlier in the case, Judge Glanville revoked the entirety of the probation, 10 years.
Oh, wow.
So,
I didn't realize that.
So Judge Whitaker only revoked about half, which is 5. And I guess the reality may be, I hope Happily Angry Lawyer would disagree with me on this, but tunk at some point didn't tell the truth, whether it was in the YSL trial or in the plea. I would argue it was in the plea that he signed that the state made up everything for. And like anyone trying to get out of Rice Street, they just initial to get out the door.
Right.
So
by the way, with regard to that, Nancy New also says with another donation to you. Also, does Fonny want to be seen as the biggest liar? Maybe that's a show, The Biggest Liar. And The World Is on Fire has the question we're still all asking: has the Richard Mille watch appeared yet?
The watch has not appeared. And by the way, wouldn't you be kind of ticked off if you were Jeffrey Williams about all this nonsense? You said it earlier, but it's understand. I mean, the harshest thing he said about anybody involved in this case so far is that one statement saying that Viverito is a liar.
Right. And many people feel that way. By the way, Happily Angry Lawyer, sorry about that. Have a meeting. Can't come on. I'm very confident in our case. We'll get you another time, okay? Yeah. Missy Mayhem is going to reach out to you and we're going to get you on another time because everyone here feels that we still all feel that Monk, that it's just, come on. I mean,
I feel terrible. I feel terrible about it.
Yeah.
And
And maybe people don't have the skill that little Woody did in terms of testifying. Woody had a great skill, right? He was a fabulous skill.
I mean, let's see if he's involved in round 2.
Jeez. Hey, I want to show one more thing about this, just because we're talking about the timing of everything. This is the judge's order from today at 3:55. And I don't know if she would have had time to read the papers to grind this baby out that fast. 3:55 today. So anyway.
she could have. It's like Brian Steele argued in his motion. He almost argued a demurrer type argument that you can take everything that was alleged by the state in their petition, you could admit to it, and
so
it
what?
was not a violation. And so what?
Yep.
And he kind of does go there toward the end. It's very much at least in Georgia, a demurrer-like argument.
Yeah, and California would do the same thing. And for those who are watching, it's a term of art that really means everything, as Doug said, everything is absolutely true. So what? There's no, in this case, violation that would justify revoking.
Yeah.
And in fact, I saw a great ex-post tweet from Mr. Kokomo, who said to Brian Steele, "How demure of you."
Yeah, he did say that, because it feels, Mr. Kokomo, he hasn't gone to law school yet. He'll be there next year, but he's been around this stuff for long enough to know that felt very demure-like. I have to analogize everything to civil. So it's like a motion to dismiss for failure to state a claim. In civil, it's the criminal equivalent to that.
Yeah, we're the federal court 12b6 motion, same thing.
12b6, yeah. It's a 12b6 type thing. So anyway, Brian's response was wise. It was aimed at the target audience. I don't even think she needed it. She could have read that petition, and on her own, Judge Whitaker would have realized there's nothing here that comprises a violation of the terms.
Well, are we going to then do the same thing again, though, on a constant basis? Because she's got this thing that everything is gang activity and all, as happily angry lawyer said, because you and Michael are sitting on red chairs. You're wearing, you got gang colors. I specifically didn't wear a red sweater earlier today because I said, I was kidding with Michael. I said, I don't want to be associated with the gang colors for this show, given Fonnie Willis's seemingly ability to want to come after people.
Yeah. Well,
when does it stop?
If you're going to go by the DA's office in the Fulton County Courthouse, when Young Thug's record drops, they're going to be jamming out up there, because I'm sure she's going to have half a dozen people listening to every single track, writing every word down, trying to figure out how she's going to claim that certain lyrics are a violation of his terms of probation. Guaranteed.
Yeah, I have no doubt.
Is there a statute? Wasn't there a statute that was trying to be put forth that couldn't happen in Georgia? The lyrics couldn't be, or am I thinking about it?
No, I think that's where the legislature was in Georgia.
There. Are you back? Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, sorry about that.
That a day like today could come.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so
now we lost your sound. Now you're on mute.
I think you're back. No, you're not back.
So anyway, my car shut off. Am I still back?
Yeah,
now you're back again.
You're back.
I'm so sorry. Anyway, there was a RAP Act proposed in this legislative session. I assume that it did not pass. I was politely asked to step back and not lobby too hard for it. So I let the legislators do their thing, but I don't know. I don't think it made it through.
That's
and besides
sad.
that was the
That is too bad.
That was a rule of evidence issue. And I'd have to think about how it might apply to a probation revocation situation. But we don't have it anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
'cause I don't
that's too bad. It's got to happen because it's just
we'll,
such an
we'll try
overreach.
again next year.
Yeah.
We'll try again next year.
Yeah, to making a count, Doug, will it be Max or Maxine for KB/SB?
Yeah, that's for yeah. What will it be for? This is for Kayla Bumpus and Shannon Stillwell. They Kayla is having a child, is having Shannon's child, and they're getting married, I believe, this August, or they're having a wedding this August. So I don't know.
Congratulations.
I know that Shannon has publicly tweeted that he is hoping for a boy. I told him that he would love a girl just as much. He didn't deny that. He said he was just hoping for a boy. And I believe I said that I was wishing a teenage girl on him in the future. Which is like a form of curse coming out of my mouth.
Typical man.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Typical man.
Okay.
Oh my God, she inserted herself into our show.
Yeah, you can't keep
Disney
her out of it.
Nerd is a new member. Thank you, Disney Nerd. We love always happy.
Hi, Disney Nerd. You picked a good show to be a member of.
that was great.
So-
But I thought you were going to do the crying baby one, Michael.
Well, we haven't talked about Mr. Lewin. So, every time we
yeah.
talk about Mr. Lewin from, the ASAP Rocky. So he has his own response.
I don't think we
hold on a
have
second.
one from Fonnie Willis. I think every time we do Fonnie Willis, we want to just show Ashley Merchant because we call her, her greatest and worst enemy. Because
She still hasn't paid up, as far as we know. She hasn't paid up.
I don't believe she has yet.
Unbelievable.
I assume at one point she will. I don't think she's going to want to be in contempt because that would be, further in contempt. Let's put it that way.
Yes.
It's just
For
not
those
a
who
good
don't
look for the DA's
recall,
office.
This is Ashley, who we had on recently to give us an update. She's been awarded $54,000 and change for her legal efforts to get the documents that still haven't been provided. Still don't have the document. So no documents, and now a bill outstanding for $54,000 for the legal efforts to get the documents that she doesn't have. Fonnie has her own set of rules.
She clearly does, and it's stunning to all the criminal defense attorneys that supported her initial election to that office.
Yeah, I remember that when she was running, Ashley Merchant was saying, "Oh, she's going to be a great prosecutor and all." And we just saw some footage that suggests that she may be back with Nathan Wade also. But it doesn't seem like anyone wants to do anything about what is happening and the money that's being spent and the Rico action, the gang activity, and the failure to respond to requests for documents, even from legislative bodies.
Yeah, even
You
that.
may be giving her too much credit by saying back with Nathan Wade. You're assuming that she truthfully was separated from him at some point.
Yeah, well,
Right, you're right.
Those crazy kids, you can't keep them apart.
Yeah, well.
So and she's also has to respond to the subpoena to that committee that Ashley's already testified in front of, which is a subcommittee to determine what was the propriety or impropriety of the use of the funds. She denied the subpoena, denied, and it was more recently ruled that no, it's effective. You got to show up, but she hasn't yet.
It almost feels like she is looking to become some kind of martyr. I don't even pretend to know what's going through her head. I really don't. I don't understand this apparent fixation with Jeffrey Williams. I don't understand her pursuing all of these music folks. I don't understand her clearly. I guess she's about to go after Lil Baby. I don't know. I don't know what's there. I don't know what's going on with that. And I don't think it's just, she wants to clean up the community. There are more effective ways to put the county's resources and the DA's resources into making our community safe rather than going after a bunch of rappers.
Yeah.
People
want to know, are you interested in doing anything at the Lil Baby case? I know. Can you tell everybody that you're starting your own law firm and you have a major murder trial that's scheduled for August that we're going to cover?
Well, Lil Baby has a great lawyer in Drew Findling, so but who knows who all will be in the indictment.
Yeah, that's what I wondered. Who's going to be swept up in the net?
Yeah, I think what's the definition of insanity? Like doing the same terrible thing over and over again, something to that effect.
Expecting a different result.
Do I really want to touch another Fonnie Willis Rico case in Fulton County?
Yeah.
I'll tell you, if I do, we're gonna have to bill differently for it.
How about
My
your?
wife
How
will
about
insist on
your?
that.
Yeah, and if you haven't seen Doug, first of all, Doug's an amazing lawyer. The YSL case was his first criminal case, but he's got great practice, skills. He's also got a scientific background.
Thank you.
And he started his own firm. He has a major homicide case, murder case, I think in August that we plan
August
to cover.
9th, I think it is.
In August, in Liberty County outside Savannah. So
yeah, and he started his own firm. Give us the name of the firm, the address, the email.
yeah, there you go. Thank you for letting me pitch it.
Keep pitching.
So it's Weinstein Law. It's at 130 Cone Street. It's at Cone and Lucky. I'm in Bruce Harvey's building, and you can find me at doug@weinsteinlaw.us. And you can call 470-889-7337.
All right.
It doesn't have a ring to it, but that's what I got.
I love it. Say it again slower. What's the number
Okay,
again?
call 470-889-7337. And
And
thank you for throwing that up there.
We got your website up there too right now. So
yeah, so
all good. Well,
Website.
thanks again for
fewer clients and more attention to each client.
That's it. It's boutique-ish. I always like that.
Boutique-ish.
Yeah.
Yes, it is boutique-ish.
Well, thanks for squeezing us in last minute. We thought it would still be like, hey, let's talk about the pros and the cons and what might happen, and then it was over.
Yeah, I was hot and bothered last night. I'm a little calmer today.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay.
We all bothered, and we don't represent everyone, but we all feel very invested in the justice system, and how we knew this was going to happen. We knew they were going to make this. We knew it.
Everyone knew it. Everyone knew it. And the worst part about this for me, before I go, is this will just renew people criticizing Jeffrey Williams for taking the plea instead of taking it all the way to the jury. And I just, again, I hate to see that.
Yeah, it's easy to say that after the fact.
It sure is.
It
sure is.
Not in those shoes. So anyway,
right,
I hope they shot their wad on this, and now they're so discredited that they'll lay down. I know. No. I can dream.
We'll be back. We're going to be back in late April after his album drops, and they twist whatever words he puts on there.
Okay.
We can't wait. We're gonna all be buying that album. But before you go, we just want to get a one-line word for you, because we're going to now, when we let you go, we're going to morph into the Karen Reed case. And we know that you've been following it, but we're not going to keep you to discuss that now. We will get you again once it goes to trial. But any word you want to say to your fans out there who are all here tonight because of you? By the way, a couple of questions. Unidentified co-conspirator, what would happen if she is in further contempt, Doug, in there? And YSL Q's, what's the update with Yak? So 2 questions before you go. And my question, Reed.
So real quick, what's the update with Yak? Nothing has really changed lately. He has an April 9th, I believe, hearing in front of Judge Whitaker, and he still needs a reconsideration of bond hearing in front of Judge McBurney, which is not yet calendared. And then I don't remember the other question.
Yeah, the other one was for Fannie Willis further contempt. What would happen if she's in further contempt?
I assume fines. I mean, I assume fines.
Nothing custodial, unfortunately.
I'd like to see the fines come out of her own pocket.
Yeah, well, that's something we've talked about too. This $54K, more taxpayer dollars. I mean,
I know. So hopefully some personal fines.
Karen My last question's from me, Karen Reed. Give us your thoughts before we go, because we're gonna morph to talking about it next.
In some ways, first of all, from what I've seen so far, and I hate to, from what I've seen so far, I cannot believe the state is proceeding with the malice murder charge. There's no way I think that they're going to win on any of these charges, because I don't think they're going to be able to show guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. And Karen Reed is her own worst enemy and needs to be quiet.
Maybe
and that's
too late.
Not the way I normally word it, but that's what she needs to do.
It may be too late to close that barn door.
I know.
I know.
So
but I think
Reed.
It's still overwhelmingly difficult to get through this case. I just can't imagine it. I just can't.
Kind of like a theme for tonight, though. Maybe everyone should chill out when they're targets of the government. Just chill out.
Just chill out. Yeah.
There you go.
Just chill out.
Be like Doug. We had to picture unspoken Riz. That's Doug. He has
Now I'm
unspoken Riz.
Now I'm going to get slammed for taking away Karen Reed's First Amendment rights, because that's what happens every time I suggest she should stop talking.
That's right. Well, there's a louder chorus. More and more people, attorneys especially, saying.
Actually,
all right.
Yeah, actually, you don't know the just before you go, but Michael was actually one with the First Amendment. Michael was down there, and the state cops told him he couldn't walk on the sidewalk for a sixth time.
I saw that happen to you.
Yeah, so he's got the First Amendment.
And I will just say that story's not over. I'll put it that way.
Good.
We may call you, Doug, because I thought he should have taken one for the team.
Yeah.
All right. Have a good evening, y'all. Thank you for having me on. Always a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you very much. And for our viewers, please stay. We love Doug. We wish he could stay the whole hour, and talk about Karen Reed, but we want to give some updates with regard to Karen Reed, but he is just Michael. He's just so wonderful. He is so charismatic. You know?
He's just a cool guy, and he's so smart. So it's a pleasure.
Yeah,
always. A pleasure.
And we told him we 10 minutes would be fine. Look, he gave us 45.
That's the way I don't like to leave it open ended, and I would much rather that they say okay, great, and then we get more out of them than feel like it's a burden for them. So.
Right.
Anyway,
he always likes coming on with us, and hopefully he likes because he likes our viewers. He likes all of you.
Course,
I mean, you're very supportive of him.
We have smart people.
Yeah, very, very supportive of him. So
Karen Reed today, third day of jury selection, and I would have thought at this point, well, we've got 3 jurors now. That's what I kind of anticipated. Not so much. We have 10. 5 men, 5 women. We have 10.
I'm shocked, but I think there's a reason for it.
Okay, and that would be?
Okay, everyone who said they made up their mind or biased, they want to get off the jury. The other people, stealth jurors. They want to be on this jury, okay? They want to be on this jury. Look, I mean, 10 people, you can't get 10 people usually in a slip and fall civil case in the time.
If you told me this is a typical 2 or 3 day, DUI case or something, I would say, all right, that makes sense. But 10 in a case that everybody knows about. So I think, as you say, there's been a lot of rehearsing perhaps to get on the jury, a lot of acting, a lot of role playing. I'm playing a role as an independent, unbiased juror.
Yeah, Scotty's in the chat here, by the way. Scott McGinnis is here. And to make it count, thank you. JSTV has the best guests, the best moderators, the best chat. Please hit that like button. Yes, thank you for doing that, because normally I have to do that. I have to say, please hit the like button, please hit the share button.
We never remember
subscribe, please. We at the very end, and we're told we're always supposed to be doing it before. But we get caught up in discussion, like the reason why we're here, which is to talk to everybody. But Scotty, thanks for coming back. But yeah, I think they want to be on this jury. They know what to say. Now the question is, do they want to be on this jury because they're pro-prosecution or because they're pro-defense? And that you have to leave to the people in the courtroom to decide. But there was an interesting thing that was filed today.
There was. And before we get off the jury thing, I wasn't being totally rude. Well, I was being rude, but I was looking for the poll that I put up 2 days ago. Could you be a fair and impartial juror in the Karen Reed case? We've had a couple of 1,200 votes. Any guess how the breakdown has come in? Yes or no? Could you be a fair and impartial juror?
99% said yes.
Interesting. It's almost split. No,
wow.
No said 55%. Yes said 45%.
Oh, wow. Isn't that
Yeah,
interesting?
and it's even over the course of the growth of the votes, it has stayed pretty much at that break.
So, but when the no is fair and impartial, which way?
Well, it's just you either could be fair and impartial, or you can't be fair and impartial.
So we don't know. We don't know the breakdown.
Well, in theory, fair and impartial means you aren't leaning either way.
Right.
That's the theory.
That's the theory.
So these people are saying, yes, 45% of the people say, yeah, I could be fair. Okay.
Yeah. Apollo B wants to point out, by the way, we are almost at 10,000 subscribers. I know you have grown these channels.
I know. We're trying to figure out. We're so thankful for everybody who's taken the time to join us, and we're trying to figure out. Okay, we need to have a little something to show our appreciation. Give away some mugs. Do something. And we've just been so busy, we haven't had time to do it. I know Missy has some ideas, which all sound like it will take a ton of time to prepare.
Tell us your ideas.
But we want to do something.
Yeah, let you all tell us your ideas of what you think too, because we're going to be covering this now. We've been on the air almost all the time, and you have some updates though. But before we have an update on the First Amendment, which is an issue, I wanted you as yes, I was pumping. Yes, I was, Jason. I was pumping Michael up to say, come on, Michael, go walk that sixth time. Come on.
Go ahead. What would happen if I do? So we do have an update on that whole story. Should we update some of that to the degree that I can?
Yeah. Well, Scott McGinnis says now expect Michael to be boots on the ground, and if he's not there now, I'm like, what? Huh? He's going to be back. I have to. I next Wednesday I won't be here. They're going to have a substitute host, or one of you will come on and host with Michael. We've done that before, and maybe that's what we should do: is have one of our guests who are always on come on and host with you.
We can do that.
I think that
hey, by then. I can't get back there till Thursday, but by then we could be in opening statements the way the jury is being gathered.
Yeah,
so
and
quickly.
You're going to be there Thursday. You're going to be here hopefully
Thursday and Friday.
And Friday of next week and all. But I'll be following it on Wednesday. I won't be able to just be on the air on Wednesday. But today the defendants filed a motion requesting the clerk's list of jurors, okay, late in the day, because they want to ask for this list to be released to her lawyers, a jury consultant, and I don't believe they're talking about Victoria George because she's there as a lawyer. She's signed in as a lawyer. So a jury consultant and a law clerk who's working with Miss Reed's legal team. Okay. So they want the list. And there was also a question about how was it that people were being called up, right? The list. How was it that they were being called in the order that they were coming to the bench? I know there was some issue about that.
Those that raised their hand when it got to the conflicts and bias.
And not that once you got rid of all those, and then who you were calling, the ones that are left who you were calling up to say, okay, you're next in the box. We're going to do individual questioning of you, right? Because that could, that's an issue. But so
we know that's not being released either.
That's not being released. Apparently. Well, certainly not right now. So there must be a lot of behind the scenes that's going on here that we don't know about. And of course, there was also, because I really want to get to the important thing, which is the First Amendment, because it applies also to Karen Reed too. Karen Reed's team went to the U.S. Supreme Court with a petition for or a writ of certiorari. And for those of you who don't know, that when you're denied in the lower federal courts, your next step is to go to the Supreme Court, and in some cases it's called in some states it has a different name, but for the U.S. Supreme Court it's called a writ of certiorari. So and there's two questions, and when you go and you make that writ, whether you're making it to a state court, state Supreme Court, or to a federal Supreme Court, you present a question for them to answer, usually two, at the most three. I've seen some that are longer, but those aren't really real. And the questions, I'll just read them to you. Number one, whether a final and unanimous but unannounced decision by a jury following trial, the prosecution failed to prove a defendant guilty of a charge offense constitutes an acquittal, precluding retrial under the Double Jeopardy Clause. And question two, whether a defendant who produces credible evidence of such a final, unanimous, and unannounced acquittal is entitled to a post-trial hearing to substantiate the fact of such acquittal. So that went into the U.S. Supreme Court today to see whether they will take that writ, grant that writ of certiorari, and answer those two questions.
And I think people need to know what the odds are of that happening. I remember I did a story when I was doing the Legal Edge, and I went to the Supreme Court, and I did this on the steps of the Supreme Court. And I had a bunch of child's blocks, like with numbers on them. And I was using that setting and these blocks to indicate how rare it is for the court to grant certiorari to a case. They get 5,000 to 7,000 cases a year that are just like the one being sent up there by Karen Reed, asking for the court to look at this. Now, the court doesn't care about anything that is, in their opinion, decided law. They're only there to look at things that are in conflict or have issues of first impression. Of 5,000 to 7,000 cases they look at, or at least want to have looked at each year, 54 get looked at.
Holy
54.
Moly. Wow.
So your odds are like a grain of sand, being discovered on the beach.
Wow.
So
You know,
And
and
again,
now that you speak of a grain of sand, you know, we have so many supporters on the ground for this channel, and they know that we don't call things everything that they see, that, you know, we don't see it necessarily their way. You know, we call things as we see it on both sides. But maybe it wouldn't be a bad idea. You have a bunch of co-hosts next week, Michel Bryant, a bunch of people that you've been around. You know, we've had Scott on the show. We've had Dina on the show. We've had
we
Will
want to
on
get
the
Mike
show.
on, Tom on. We want to get Tom
We
on.
want to get Tom CP. Tom was supposed to be on, but he wasn't feeling well the other day. A little under the weather, you can imagine, because their schedules. But yeah, so we'll think about it. And
Are you going to be gone more than one day next week, or
oh
just
no,
Wednesday?
just one day, just
Wednesday.
Wednesday. Wednesday's the
Okay.
only day I can't be on with you.
And maybe Bob Bianchi. We'll see.
Bob
We'll
Bianchi,
see
or
what we
Bob,
can
our New Jersey boy. But we do have some more updates besides the jury selection. That's very important, and that's because you didn't take one for the team. You didn't walk by that sidewalk the sixth time. What's happened to
do.
Mike?
No, that's all right. Okay, so on that front, I can share today, because it's officially been made a part of the federal court docket. Let's just look through some of the exciting stuff that has been filed on given cases. This is, let's see, you can see this is as of yesterday. These were the items entered, and you can see.
And what is this?
This is the federal docket of documents that have been filed for a given case. This is the case. You can see where it says at the top 4-2 electronic notice of case assignment. Judge Myung Yon assigned to the case. This is the case that has to do with the 4 folks who are challenging the right to free speech imposed or restricted by Judge Cannone in the buffer zone, right? And so everything that's filed in this case is documented electronically, tells you who's involved. You can see the summonses here under 6, summons issued to the judge, to the DA, Michael Morrissey, to a trial court of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, et cetera, et cetera. Counsel receiving this notice electronically should download this summons. So this is the official handing off of the and serving of the complaint, which ultimately will require a response by the defendants. Number 7 there, civil cover sheet. Okay, every document is documented. Temporary restraining order for a preliminary injunction, or in the alternative, an injunction pending appeal. So what they want is to set aside the buffer zone so that free speech may reign, right?
Right.
Then you see here number 9, motion for temporary restraining order, Exhibit A, declaration of Michel Bryant. What?
Whoa!
What?
You enlarge that declaration of Michel Bryant?
What?
And enlarging that. Let me. Scott said after the other day, I feel like I led Michael through the front lines of the forefront one, so I'm used to that. I'm inured to it, so I laugh.
Exhibit B, Michel Bryant video to be filed conventionally. Guess what that video is?
Whoa! Can you enlarge that? I got to take a screenshot of this.
No, I don't
Michel
know.
Bryant, you are in the federal suit by what Justice Served TV did, and you have to understand how all this came about. So Michael's on the front lines. He's boots on the ground there, right? What was happening there? As we heard a couple things about the cops having the toot, as I call it, about, you know, we'll just make the fucking arrest. That's what their words, not mine, according to you. And then when you were just walking through and they told you that they've been watching. One of them said they've been watching you walk through the sidewalk 5 times. And basically in order you not to do it again.
Right. Yeah. The quote was, I've seen you walk back and forth here 5 times, and, you know, don't do it again. So
don't do it again.
Yeah. So
yeah. And so so you are in as a witness to this First Amendment suit.
Yeah.
Important issue.
Well, that video, and the key part of the video, really, as much as the interaction with the cops, was when that one officer ripped that sticker off of the gentleman that was with Scott and I, because that's just, you know, that in and of itself, all you have to do is see that, and you know how wrong it was, right? And that was just a physical manifestation of the attitude that they are presenting there. So I will also say, but although I can't reveal complete details, this ain't the end. This ain't the end of filings that may reflect what happened that day. I will put that. That may be as early as tomorrow. That may happen. So,
well, can you put up on Justice Served TV these publicly docketed items. And this is breaking news. The Exhibit A, the Declaration of Michael Bryant. Exhibit, I guess it's Exhibit B, Michael Bryant video to be filed conventionally. Can you? Well, we know that, but can you put those up on our Justice Serve TV? That's actually a.
I will. We can see if the documents are available. I'm not going to post them. That I have, that the attorneys have provided.
No, the ones that are docketed.
If they are public,
Pacer.
Available publicly, then sure, we will do that.
Yeah, well, you go to Pacer, and I guess we should re-announce it with our breaking news item, right?
Oh, did we? Can we do
let's
that
do it.
retroactively?
Yes, we can.
All right, so there it was.
There you go. Justice Serve TV has entered the chat. Michael Bryant just being boots on the ground, doing his job, both as just a private citizen walking through a sidewalk to get from one place to another. You know how you do that?
I was just getting my steps in, just trying to get my steps in. That
somehow ended up being targeted here because he walked too many times through a sidewalk. As a citizen, when the sidewalk was not closed, in my opinion, pursuant to the Dedham orders or pursuant to the judge's order.
And so what's going to happen, and I think the goal here is to let free speech reign. Obviously, that's number one, whether you're a news gatherer or a citizen, and to make the court aware that there's some cowboying going on here with the troopers and the cops who just are interpreting this order any way they damn well please, which is trampling our First Amendment rights.
Yeah. By the way, no, I don't have a proc vice for that. If Michael were to be arrested, since it would be Justice Serve TV, we would probably want to hire him, Massachusetts counsel and all, because it'd be, I have an interest. And, I would hate for Michael Bryant to go to jail because I was an ineffective assistance of counsel.
That's right. Would I have a Sixth Amendment to right? Wait a minute.
Yeah. No, but this is very important.
You better get Lori Daybell.
Oh, jeez. No, it's very important, and because it does involve the First Amendment. The reason why it's called the First Amendment is why.
Most important?
Most important, right? Yes. That's the thing. It's very important. And, you weren't doing anything wrong. And if they can treat you like that, they can treat anybody like that, really.
Yeah. And as I've said, I think it's coming to a head. Something has to happen. Assuming that an injunction is not granted tomorrow, I believe is going to be a movement to do that. Assuming that does not happen, I know that something's going to happen. Somebody's going to get arrested, which is going to be the ultimate challenge, right? Or the court is going to see what's going on and further refine the buffer order so that the cops have clearer direction, because now they got nothing. It says you can't wear any of the items for either of the sides in the buffer zone. And the cops have just taken that to mean keep it moving. You can't come through here more often than we think is appropriate. That's way beyond what the order says. So they need an order to rein them in.
It's not only way beyond what the order says, but even the Dedham police said the sidewalks are not closed at this time, and they will let you know when they're going to need to close a sidewalk. And it wasn't closed. It's not closed.
Yeah. Maybe they were letting me know it was closed. That's what they meant by that. Yeah.
No,
and these were stadies. These were not Dedham cops. These were stadies.
Yeah, and I know you try to keep out of it because you didn't want the story to be about public.
Well, I'm just there to observe and report. And, but that's what happened. So I observed it and reported it. And that video of that guy, which I think is the most important part, hands-on.
Hands-on, right.
That's way over the line.
Yeah.
So we'll keep you posted. I think there will be an update tomorrow on that.
One other comment. We have NCSHP retired Michael. I hope you sent the clip to the colonel. If he doesn't know, he cannot do anything about it. They were unprofessional, and the colonel needs to know, sir.
And he's what, the head of the stadies, head of the MSP?
Yeah,
right?
I think they now know because of the service of the process. Anyhow.
Yeah.
So that was our
anyway.
Anyhow, so thank you all for being with us again. Almost 1,000 of you again. We are coming upon that 10,000. Please send in. We have an email. It's called justiceservetv@gmail. if you think there's something special we should do for the 10,000 episode, the 10,000 subscribers, let us know. And also let us know what you think who should be with Michael next Wednesday night when I'm not able to be with Michael Bryant hosting this show.
We may have. I'm just trying to think of some things for there must be a way. There should be a way to actually determine who's the 10,000th subscriber, right? There's got to be a way to do that. You know, you do back in the day. They would have like go to the grocery store and the 10,000th customer, get something. We'll have to work on that because I think that would be fun. Just by happenstance, somebody's going to be the 10,000th person, right?
Yeah. So they want a question and answer show. By the way, I can say I'm asking for a question and answer.
Yeah, that'd be something else.
You ask questions and we answer.
On that front, something else we should do that all these things we should do. Should is a bad word. I don't like should. It's a guilt word. Something I hope we can do is a member only Q&A because our members, those that go to the extra step to actually sign up as members, I think that would be great. So pencil that in, would you?
Yeah.
Missy, pencil that in.
NCSHP retired to the colonel and to internal affairs. Okay.
Yeah. Everybody's identifiable on that video. So
yeah. Some good stuff. Anyhow,
tomorrow, who knows? But we'll keep you posted on all these things. And in the meantime, I'm Michael Bryant, trying to do the right thing.
And I'm Linda Kenny Bodden, and together we are Justice Served TV. And again, hit that like, subscribe, share, and notify all. It doesn't cost you anything, and we'll see you tomorrow.